so I just want to make sure my voice.
You're fine.
So you may not need me. Well, yeah, because it's going to go directly in,
All right.
Yay!
I think we're live. Well, you say
we
something
live?
because it takes like 4 minutes for us to figure it out.
To warm it up.
Yeah. All right. So everybody, it's Saturday morning, and this is another behind the scenes of the yajagoff podcast recording. As we know, as you probably know, you're probably tired of hearing it, that it comes out on the Odyssey app every Monday around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Then we put it on yajagoff.com every Tuesday morning, and then we back sell it all the rest of the week.
Yeah, so you get to see all these amazing people because we're in Millvale, and we're super excited to talk to all the businesses that make Millvale thrive. And you can check it out for an entire week, but definitely listen to the podcast in its entirety first, where you find all your podcasts. But we really think you should listen on Odyssey. So do you want to go right into it? And we get to listen to some really cool music? Because there's a little surprise with this musician. I'm not going to say what it is. I'm a terrible surprise ruiner, and I'm not going to do it this time, right? So for right now, are we going? Is it Erika June, right? I know, I've seen that, and I thought, you're a woman of all names. I didn't want to. All right. So for your listening pleasure, enjoy for now. Happy Saturday.
Is it mad that I'm afraid to say the things I'm thinking every day? About how this world affects our life. If I don't look, I'll never see the goodness that's in front of me. Oh, I'll never know what's wrong or right. I just wanna start a fight. I won't sleep through the night. But the world is changing. The world, it keeps on changing. Are we gonna change with it? Are we gonna change with it? Are you gonna change? Am I gonna change? We can say the same. Let's go away. There is a world that is parallel to Earth, and is where I feel alive. If we're free to thrive, where we all see better days. But it's not true. It's not what your hair on the news. Most of us are not the lucky few. Now I'm mad, I'm afraid to lose my place in line. Oh, I could have lived there all the time. But in the sweetness I realize, what is it worth without that goodness in my side? What if we never cross that line? What if we never make the time? But what if we go there and it's fine? But the world is changing. The world, it keeps on changing. Are we gonna change with it? Are we gonna change with it? Are you gonna change? Am I gonna change? We can say the same, or we are gonna fade away.
How about that, huh?
Awesome.
Right.
I'm like channeling my inner Edie Brickell and the New Bohemians. You remember Edie
very,
Brickell?
very strict library people are going, what
They're
is
like,
happening
what is going
here at
on
the
in that
Millvale
back room?
Library?
I know, right? I
So
love
you
it.
get to go take a break. If
Yes.
you don't, you're permitted. You can certainly sit there, but you're on camera the entire time. Yeah.
You're fine.
Yeah.
I don't care. You're fine. Yeah,
And
just don't bunny
If you
ear
do
me
that,
the
you
whole
have to
time.
do this behind
Yeah,
Rachel's
right.
head. All right.
We
So
ready?
this is listen, you're seeing behind the scenes of the podcast, and you see like we're kind of a shoddy operation. We just hold our microphones up to people's amps.
Who says that? Who says that? All right. Rorick Honda is known for its vast showroom with a backup of vehicles in its warehouse in Bloomfield. But what about the pre-owned and certified used vehicles in inventory?
With a click or a call, you can be up to date on how many of your desired make or models are available for purchase. As always, visit Rorick.com for all of your vehicle needs. Now we start this week's yajagoff podcast with a little bit of reading
At the Millvale Community Library. Library if you're from the north side.
So this is the yajagoff podcast. If you're listening for the first time, we ask that you subscribe to it. And if you're on iTunes, you can say something nice. If you're not on iTunes, there's not many other places to say things nice.
Yeah, just say nice
right.
things. I mean,
but just tell somebody
she
to go
She
down
just sang about being kind. So, like, come on.
Right.
Like, let's
That's
do
exactly
the right thing,
right.
right?
And the cool thing is that we actually have a studio audience because we have guests.
Yeah, they're
and they all
looking, like, right at
They're all
us.
decided to go, like, let's watch what happens so
Yeah.
you can't make any mistakes
Right,
today.
well, that's-
but
yeah.
anyways, we're on the radio every once in a while during the week.
Yeah,
right?
so we have shout out to Kel on Air every day. At 4:55, we deliver the talk of the town. I have a hard time yins rising. I don't say tan,
Right.
but I'm proud of my inner yinzer. So we do the talk of the town, which is basically anything hip and happening going on. We kind of remind you that it's happening, which is a cool thing. And then we also are on Elista, and it's a news spot.
Yeah, it's the what's happening kind of thing, but it's where are we putting our parking chair each week?
Yeah.
What's some new place that you would want to go?
Yeah, and we've
hang
had
out?
really good feedback. Keep telling us where to go. Mary Mac has asked twice now for Kelly O's, and we are going to get there. But Barcadia had just opened, so that was the one we just did. And we just started with Kristen because kudos to Maria. She just had her first baby. So we are on Wide Awake every Thursday at, I believe, 7:10.
7:10. You have to be up early for
For
that.
the Jag Off of the Week. And what happens there is, okay, listen, if you don't know, John is a crazy driver. I am not. I just am the passenger everywhere we go. And he gets road rage on a regular basis. So 99% of the time, our blogs, which are Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, are about driving. And so John writes about them. I am the better driver, and I just choose to kind of, watch it all go down. So we get to choose which one of those we're going to deem the biggest Jag Off of the Week on Y108.
Right. And speaking of what's on the blog, that's
Yeah.
what we do next is, so this past week, if you didn't follow the blog, you missed. We called out one more person. I don't know what it is, but people do not know that they have to clean their car off
Yeah.
this snow. So you
drives
clean
you
the windshield off.
crazy.
We know the Pittsburgh version of the cleaner. It's your arm, right?
Yeah,
You just clean
yeah.
it off with your windshield.
Listen, I make my
And-
kids. I mean, their hands are like frostbitten. They're like, oh, I don't know where. our
But
thing
the
went."
back window has to be
Yeah.
done too.
Yeah,
That's
you're
the
right.
key.
You're right.
So
Yeah.
and so we post, and then on Route 22 going out to Murraysville area. Well, I don't know what the deal is, but the trucks are always in the fast lane.
Is that
so
where you saw
we gave
Amazon?
you a little Eagles earworm when we said life in the fast lane because the trucker would just mosey around it, and that gets me.
See how mad he is? You guys, you can't really see the expression on his face, but that's how it gets. All right. But from east to now Millvale, because let's face it, Millvale is one of the fastest growing areas. I mean, neighborhoods in Western Pennsylvania. And we love hearing that that's happening. First of all, I went to Mount Alvernia, so come on in so we can start chatting with you. But I went to Mount Alvernia, so I've always been a fan of Millvale. Mount Alvernia no longer exists, which totally sucks. But the cool part is, full disclosure, John and I are really good friends with a lot of the businesses here. And we were like, why do we not bring in a bunch of businesses, learn about a few more to see what is making this the hot spot for everything for people to move into? And not only is it a hot spot for business, you have a library that you can talk loud. What the heck is going on here? So welcome,
Yeah, thank you.
Ethan.
And
We're
also,
glad to have
welcome
you.
to you guys. Welcome to the Millvale Community Library. It's great to have you here, and we're always happy to have more folks come down.
Well, thanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were here before. I think we said this to you when we walked in. We
Okay.
were at Danielle's, and then we came next door for something, and we were like, this is so cool. So when you guys reached out, we were like, this is the perfect opportunity to highlight Millvale.
Yeah. I mean, there's always a ton of stuff going on in Millvale.
Yeah.
I fell in love with this town. I came to Pittsburgh in 2009, and really
Wait, from
Millvale's
where?
something that goes- from Maryland.
Okay.
All right.
But, it was
We
never
do
into
that weird
sports.
thing, like, I mean, it's not Baltimore. It's okay.
Well, it might have been, but
Oh, no. I'm just kidding.
wasn't much of a fan. But yeah, so like here at Millvale, you guys have come down to kind of talk about the tool library a little.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
talk about what that is, because
Sure.
first of all, explain to us how like your library is so welcoming and so friendly and so non-traditional. Would that be fair to say?
I think libraries have developed.
Okay,
If-
start there.
If folks aren't well engaged with the whole library system, the Carnegies, everyone in Allegheny County, we're creating new libraries all the time. Etna's working on setting up their own library now. But there's all kinds of services that may not have existed at libraries 30 years ago.
Right.
I know that at the Carnegies, you can rent music equipment, mixing
True.
boards,
Yeah.
MIDIs, and things like that. There's a library within Allegheny County where you can rent cake tins. If you would like to do a cake in a crazy shape, castles or old buntings, there's a collection of those that are available for borrowing for anyone to come through for free, as with all the things
I
at the
didn't
library
know
with your
that.
library card.
How about that?
Yeah. So here at the Millvale Tool Library, here at the Millvale Community Library,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
have a subset of the volunteers that work in the tool library. And the tool library was established as a place for folks to borrow tools that maybe you don't have space for, you work in an apartment. Maybe it's something you only use occasionally. Maybe something really big. We have some rather large tools, things like drywall lifts. So we really get into kind of all facets of the tool world. Say you've got a small garden you maintain, you don't have a garage to keep anything. I have tools for tilling, all kinds of shovels, rakes, anything you could even think of. Every day I find new tools down in our space. I've got over 1,000 SKUs.
How do you get them? How do you have these? Is someone giving you the demand for it?
Yeah.
Like, so you're having people come in and say, I really need to till.
Yeah.
And you're like, I got you covered.
So our initial collection was created in 2018.
Okay.
We started all donation. So our first 300 tools are all donations coming in, being given by community members, like books at a library. You guys donate. We got tools. We got contractors who were retiring would give us their tools. So we have an eclectic collection of all kinds of things across the whole spectrum. Now we have a budget. So if folks come in and they need something, especially Millvale residents or anyone who's signed up to use the tool library, which you can do, anyone in Allegheny County with a library card is happy. We're happy to have you come down, sign up for the tool library, and borrow any kind of tools. And if you need something we don't have, we will definitely strongly consider buying it. The needs of the community are
Definitely strongly consider. Maybe.
There's budget considerations as
Yeah.
with any enterprise, but and then there's certain insurance considerations.
Sure.
We have people come by who need chainsaws. I don't have chainsaws. I've got
Yes.
so much other stuff though. We could probably accommodate needs like that,
Well,
especially.
Little
after
do you know,
heavy
but our
rain.
music guest is probably going to want to know some things in your tool library.
I mean, there's a
but
song
that's
behind
that's a
me.
pretty
Yeah,
good
yeah, yeah.
teaser right there.
know.
So I could come to the library and rent a tool or borrow a tool and then look up a book on how to use the tool or use the computers to watch the YouTube video
sure.
on how to use it, right?
Yeah, I mean,
It's an
with all
entire experience, yeah.
with anything in the DIY community, which is really who we're serving, folks who are working on their own houses, folks who just had an issue that they need to fix, sometimes renters. YouTube is a real essential tool. And I'll often direct people to that. I learned how to repair bikes. I worked as a bike mechanic down on the south side, all on YouTube. And I did that job for 3 years. That's really where my foundation came from. So we also have bike tools for folks looking to do bike repair. I've got car code readers. If you have a check engine light on and you have been ignoring it for a year and a half, and it's just, it hasn't broken the car yet, and you would really like to know what it is.
Ethan, Honda's our sponsor. Sorry. JK, go ahead.
No, yeah, it's so if you're not driving a Honda, come on down, plug in our code reader. It'll give you a spit out a number. Sometimes it's in plain English, and you can Google that.
That's amazing.
Get on YouTube, see what's up with your vehicle, and those kind of once in a while things are really part of who we're serving.
That is brilliant. I mean, it's all kidding aside, that is so, because that probably is one of the most commonly asked, right? That was actually one of my questions. Like, what's the most commonly or the craziest request you've had tool wise? I mean, the chainsaw side,
Yeah,
right?
chainsaws are often. We've had somebody come in and ask for a jackhammer. I don't have a jackhammer.
Yeah.
I do have concrete saws. If you can dream it, we probably have it. Something I really love to send out very frequently is we have the same floor carpet steamers that you can borrow at some of the big box stores.
Oh, yeah, uh-huh.
I have hardwood floor installing tools. So if you have decided to rip up your old linoleum and you really want to put in a beautiful hardwood floor, I've got those tools. We are very regularly send out air compressors and all the air tools that you can borrow with them. That's something that folks don't really love to have at home sometimes. They can be machines, and if you don't have the space to store those, we've got them here. All
This is
kinds
brilliant.
of saws.
This is so smart. Are other libraries doing this?
We would like to expand the program,
Okay.
and we're looking to partner with other libraries. There has been talk about creating mobile labs. There are other libraries around the country. We were supported in our start and throughout by organizations in Chicago, organizations who just across the U.S. are also setting up tool libraries, creating database tools, things to help folks get online and find the tools a little easier. Libraries are not always equipped to display three-dimensional tools or give information about them. So there's a network of folks who are doing that work.
Ethan, so let's talk about the book library
Are
for
you
a second.
thinking about the
here.
list of things you're going to do?
Yeah, right.
What you're using tools for?
How many books are here, and what is there a section of sort of cherished books that they're hard to find, or how does all of the book stuff work?
So you're gonna catch me totally off guard with books.
Okay.
I got
Tool guy.
I got involved with the library as a tool.
As the tool guy.
Yeah,
Oh,
someone
okay.
who
Ethan the
repairs
tool
tools.
man.
I
Ethan.
will
Taylor.
say the Millvale Library is always acquiring.
Okay.
It's not a musty library full of old books that you
Right.
don't want. There's new acquisitions coming in every day. There's a strong focus on children's books.
Okay.
So we're really filtering stuff through constantly. New releases are a huge staple here. And because, as you can see, the space is rather limited, we do have to be very selective about what is kept in the library. Sure. I'm sure there are cherished books that will never leave, but it's going to be something that people want all the time.
Okay.
So authors that are
Gotcha.
famous and come
Okay.
through.
But I love the fact that it is like a one-stop. Like
Yeah,
we
yeah.
thrive on that kind of stuff because you're right. Everybody wants everything right away anymore.
Yeah.
We talk about that regularly. So you literally can, I mean, it sounds super hokey, but you can literally go next door and grab tea and come over here and grab a book. And like you said, figure out what tool you need for
I
what
mean, I
project.
remember
There's always.
we came and got soup and we
Yeah.
sat over here, that
or
kind of
lentil
thing, yeah.
loaf. We have to, he's going to talk about that.
Hey,
I'm
that's
sorry.
that's
Yeah.
my Thursday night.
Well, there you go.
Every
Yeah.
Thursday, I'm down here.
Yeah.
I grab a tea and I come to the library.
That's amazing.
What would
That's
you?
awesome.
What brought you to doing a tool like you? What is? Is it
specifically?
Is
Yeah.
it more about the mission of in the community, or do you? I mean, are you, kind of?
I think there should be a resource like this in every city.
Okay.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So
like-
it's mission oriented.
I think so. I got started at the tool library because I borrowed a tool and it wasn't quite right, so I made a part for it to fix it. And after doing that, they ask you to do it again. So I kept
Okay.
doing it.
No,
I've
that's
got
great.
tools at home that need fixing.
That's
We try and maintain all of our tools. And if anyone notices anything wrong in any tools they borrow, let us know, and we'll work to fix those and correct those issues. We do repair work and maintenance work here at the library. I borrowed a tool one day because I needed it. Was living in a small apartment. It was exactly what I needed. It happened to be here. It was free. And after that, I was pretty much hooked. I would come back all the time for other tools. The available resources are always expanding.
Yeah.
I love it here, and this should be available for everyone.
I love that. I love the fact that you
can
that
tell
you
you
can
love it.
tell, right?
Yeah.
It's in your
Yeah.
heart. Yeah,
Anything
that's
we
very
missed
cool.
on your sheet?
I got tons of stuff on my
All
sheet.
right,
You
tell
can-
us.
You can
Hit
follow
us.
the Millvale Community Library on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. You can always visit millvalelibrary.org. In the summer months, as everything warms up, we're going to start doing workshops. And actually, our first tool library workshop is coming up on April 2nd. We're going to be building bat houses. It's going to be in partnership with Gardens of Etna. So they're going to, it'll be an introduction for tools for folks who come, and we'll be putting those bat houses, and they will also become a community resource as we try and restore bat populations in the city and in around Allegheny County.
Hashtag move to Millville.
No.
Listen, you
There's
took
so
all my
much
questions.
going here.
Your sheet, I'm like, all right, I'm
Yeah.
good. Go,
Yeah.
Ethan.
No worries. It was, if you get on the website, there's always stuff going on at the community library. There's usually events almost every day. There's a Maker Wednesday. We're doing things like button making. We're doing turning old T-shirts into yarn and then doing crochet or other kinds of yarn projects with it. The folks that do crochet are going to call me out, and I've used the wrong tool. It's knitting or something like that.
Yeah, right,
I've said the wrong thing, and I'm sorry, but we're going to turn
Right.
them into yarn and repurpose them, do DIY for all of those old T-shirts you have in a bag that are totally unwearable and
Right.
threadbare. There'll be flower painting coming up. Thursday nights, there is a tabletop games night for the kids. If you are a D&D fan, we do that here. And it's drop in, just come by, and we'll find a place for you at the table.
There's so much to do
Let's
here.
move
so
on
much
from
to
the
do.
John
Who
and
needs
Rachel.
Kennywood? Psych.
Let's
We
move
didn't mean
on
that,
from the
but-
John and Rachel feel inadequate portion of the show.
It's so true.
Can we just get a
so
comedian
true.
on or something
Yeah.
to make us? Yeah.
Yeah, I
No.
don't know.
Well,
Ethan,
Ethan,
that's
this
awesome.
is fantastic, and thanks for hosting us today. We really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
We're gonna come
Glad
back
to
in
have
the
you
summer
guys.
and do one of these.
We're
things
going,
and
yeah.
just
You know,
a
Rachel has
tailgate.
this thing where she does not have a green thumb, and so we need to get her into one of those classes. We'll come down
I
and make
do have
videos.
a green thumb now. We have Doug Oster on quarterly, and he has taught me what not to kill. So I will absolutely do my best to succeed here. So.
Always
Hello.
looking for, well, it's always great to find an expert, for someone who can teach you how to do it, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still on my way. Colin bought me. What did you buy me for Christmas? Mexican sunflowers.
There we go.
He said that they are like you cannot do anything to them. I have not planted them.
And she
yet.
hasn't. Yeah, they're still
love
in
the
the
gift.
seed bag.
Anyway, Ethan, it was a
Can't
pleasure.
kill 'em if you don't
Thank
grow 'em.
so much for hosting us, and thanks for inviting all of your friends from Millvale here with us. And
Absolutely.
you already said where to find you, but one more time, what's the website?
You can visit us at millvalelibrary.org.
Perfect. All right. So we have a question of the day. Are
Do
you ready
it.
for it? Our intern Paige has done a phenomenal job. I've twisted this a little bit just because we're in a library, but she had a great. She had a great. I took one from there. So, what is the longest that you have ever kept a library book?
That I have ever kept
Yeah.
a library book. There are books that you forget. So I think that I've probably had Carnegie Library books for an upwards of 3 years.
Oh, wow.
I think it's probably that long. And fortunately, that system, the Carnegie system, and the Millvale Library are all fee-free.
Yes.
So as
Thank
long
God.
as you get
because in
books
my
back
day
to
they
us-
weren't.
Right, yeah, and you'll pay for that. And I've paid some fees.
Oh, jeez.
But as long as you bring our tools back, please bring them back. And you bring any of our books back, we're not going to charge you any money. You can, if you overrun your due dates, we're all right.
Yeah.
Just we want to see them back. so
Ethan
that
is a
someone else
good
can borrow
salesman.
them.
Do you hear that? Like he took my question of the day and turned it into repurposing and another thing.
Yeah.
No, Ethan, that was perfect. Thank you so much. All right,
All
on to
right,
our
so-
friend Jen from Sprezzatura. And she brought food.
Jen, we do
Thanks,
have-
Ethan.
Jen, we do have wipes there. If you would like
Yes,
to
if
use
you
it on
wanna-
the
for the
microphone,
mic.
totally up to you.
Jen, rock the mic.
Don't wipe the cookies because we'll kill you.
Here, hold the cookies.
All right.
hold them.
All right. they look
They
like
look
little
delish. What are we
Mancini
having?
breads.
They
Am I
are. What is the sesame seed thing? Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
ahead,
You know, well, today's St. Joseph's Day.
I know.
So,
Talk about that.
okay, well, in Italy, it's Father's Day. So, we celebrate because we have heritage cooks. So, Sprezzatura is a heritage catering kitchen and cafe. We have cooks who come from Italian American, Sicilian, and French traditions. We make all of our food from scratch the slow way. And we celebrate and we invite community members to celebrate with us the things that hold dear to us. So in Lorraine, Vulo's family, Lorraine is my compatriot and is in the kitchen right now making anisette bread. She's letting the bread rise. And she made these cookies. And so in her house growing up, St. Joseph's Day was a really big day. So that's the day that we celebrate our dads. So it's Father's Day in
Yes.
Italy. Yeah, that's what it
I
is.
love that you know that.
Yeah.
So, can I jump in real quick?
Yeah,
And you
do
tell me
it.
what you know. So my mother just told this story to my oldest son that I dated this guy in college, and he was, I'm half Irish, half Italian, and he was 100% Irish. And he came home, and my mother said, "These are St. Joseph Pants cookies. Do you know what this is?"
Yeah, I
Okay,
do.
so they're like this cookie, and they're not that great. They're a little bland.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
in
these
theory.
cookies are kind of bland too, but don't tell Lorraine I said that. She's not going to watch the podcast.
But it's not like one of those like, oh, I can't wait to try this because of this ingredient. It's
Yeah.
very bland. And he was from Clearfield, so not in the city. And so he took a bite and he threw it to the birds. And my mother's like, I see my St. Joseph's pants are in the birds.
That's kind of like
who
pervy.
does
St.
that?
Joseph's pants. We're going to name a pair. Yeah, I don't even like wearing
But isn't
pants.
that
Ask
crazy?
Danielle.
Like
I
when
don't
she
even
came
wear
up
pants.
with this concept, I was like, this is brilliant because you're bringing culture back. Well, so many places in Pittsburgh are bringing culture
To the
back,
birds?
and I love that. But no, in general. And I love the fact that you focus on something like that nobody would have heard of.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we had careers and had lives and worked in the arts and in arts and culture for 25 years. So when we created our kitchen, the whole idea was let's be authentic, share our authentic selves,
We're not like a typical restaurant at all.
Right.
So we're
Talk a little bit about that.
Sure. We're like a BYOB cafe. We're open for dinner. Takeout Wednesday 5 to 8, Thursday, Friday, Saturday 5 to 9, dine in or takeout. And it's really like coming to our living room. So when you come to eat for dinner, you really are going to eat the things that we wanted to make that day. There are some things on the menu that are long-standing traditions. Our roasted vegetable lasagna, #1 bestseller. All of our meatballs, which we'll get to in a minute because we are in the middle of March Meatball Madness. So we make foods and share them. So, this morning we went to the farmer's market and we had a lot of farro from last night. Farro is a wheat grain from central Italy. We make farro. Last night, of course, Fridays during Lent, we have a fish Friday. So last night was a roasted salmon with preserved lemons, farro, and skillet greens with pepper flake. So having farro, it's easy to it's like how many of us make too much rice or too much pasta? All the time.
Always,
so we made that into our lentil farro Kalamata mint salad, and we're selling that right now at the farmer's market in Bloomfield.
That sounds so good.
As Italian Americans in our Italian American neighborhood. So that's like what we like to do. So, but
I haven't let you
today,
talk, I'm sorry.
tonight, wait, did you want to say something, John?
Go ahead,
before
John.
talk
No,
about
I
these
never want to
cookies?
say anything on the podcast.
You
no.
never want to say anything about that,
Never.
guys?
Here we go.
Are you sure?
Never
Go ahead,
is.
John.
Go ahead, John. We're waiting. We're waiting.
It's your world.
No, listen, I will say this is that, like Danielle, who we're going to talk to, you guys have stretched my picky eating habits.
Oh, right on.
Right? Because we went to your place and we had, what were the meatballs? They were
With pine nuts.
pine nuts.
Pork pine nut meatballs.
And then they were baked in an avocado.
No, that's crazy.
No, what were call?
Why would I do that?
Call.
I would never do that.
Oh, so what was it, Colin?
Of course.
Yeah, it
Thank
begins
God.
with A.
They were
It begins with A. Yeah.
Say it was meatballs baked in squash.
Well, it's the meat mix, and we baked it in an acorn squash
Yes.
shell,
Yes.
and those were part of our Thanksgiving.
And all
meal.
of it super good.
Thank you,
super
John.
good. And then we did a little video with you, and you taught us about fennel. So
Yeah.
I made this
Oh my God,
very
yeah.
simple fennel and tomato salad
Yep.
for my
Holiday.
relatives for Christmas.
Yeah.
And everybody loved it. As a matter
That's
of
so
fact,
great.
the most subjective person you could ever present food to would be Jack Hunt.
My
because
father.
he's a chef. And he's like, I love this. This is really
He
good.
has
I'm
Citrus
like,
fennel. Citrus fennel
boom,
salad.
Johnny
Yeah.
C. So you have stretched my taste and tried to get me to eat a little more healthy.
Well, and you know
Thank
how
you.
Italians are. My mom's like, "What's up?" With
Except
these
for right
meatballs?
now.
What's this meatball thing? I'm like, you're gonna try it. You're gonna love it. And they did, because you catered one of our holiday things last year. Remember?
Yeah.
So, well, listen. I mean, we could talk about Sprezzatura forever, obviously, but the other thing that you're doing is Saffron and Sass. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, Saffron and Sass. So Leslie Bonsi, who is the head bitch nutritionist in charge, is teamed up with me because of you guys. And Leslie Bonsi, unbelievably, I went to see Leslie Bonsi after I had my second son, and I needed to get my nutritional balance back. And so went to see her years ago when she was down on the south side at the UPMC Sportsworks place doing sports nutrition, and she really helped me get my diet back in order. And then now here we are teamed up again through yajagoff, doing our little monthly 15-20 minute segment Facebook Live, and through yajagoff promoted, and talking a lot about the relationship between nutrition and healthy eating and how to make things that are delicious, which is how John learned how to make the citrus fennel salad. And so we do demos. We talk about
Hot flashes.
flash in a pan, and how to use certain tools. So we're demystifying the cooking experience while still making it healthy. So a lot of times when we want to demystify the cooking experience, we do things quickly, right? And quickly means refined foods that aren't good for you, foods that are already prepackaged, too much salt, too many preservatives. It's not a great way to eat. Right. So one of the things at Sprezzatura that we really care about is that we want to have healthy, accessible, affordable food that you enjoy, so that when you actually leave our restaurant or leave the farmer's market or take something home and eat it, that you feel better. So it's not just a transactional thing like, I'm going to sell you this, bacio di damas. It's that you eat
Are you
it
allowed to say that?
and you feel and you feel better, so that when you leave, you actually feel more energized and you feel healthier and you can go out and do the things you do in life because you came and ate a kick-ass meal at Sprezzatura.
Well, and let's go one more level. You got us to drink Beet Smoothies,
My
which
God.
are fantastic.
yeah, that was totally amazing. Yeah,
John brings them to my
those
house
beet
now.
smoothies, those are
Crazy.
anti-inflammatory beet smoothies. That's because of Leslie, but we were talking a lot about beets, like the beet goes on, right? What do we do with winter vegetables? That was one of our segments. And, people have such a love-hate relationship with beets. They're like, this tastes like dirt. It really doesn't.
Right.
You didn't wash the damn thing. You didn't do it right. Sorry. So if you know how to make a beet or do something with a beet, you could actually enjoy it and get all of those nutritional properties, which include lowering your cholesterol, your blood pressure, taking better care of your inflammation, and you drink those beet smoothies now.
We need to
does.
drink.
Like, And you're
we need to
picky.
drink
You're
the
picky.
beets
You're a
while
self-proclaimed
we're
picky eater.
driving.
Yeah, it'll calm him. Maybe.
Drink
lower
beets. Drink
the
beets
blood
and
pressure,
drive.
cholesterol.
Drink beets
Yes.
and drive.
That's no, but he loves it. Like that is not. We are
It's
not just
so
like
good.
placating Jen. Like he's like, I'm gonna try.
No.
this and-
And the crazy thing is trying to keep everything, because you're like the hot dogs and the hot dog buns. I don't have equal parts of everything. So I'll go buy all this stuff and then I'll be out of the juice and then I'll be out of the beets. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
shoot. So I just need to kind of get my groceries delivered
And
on
you
a
know, we
regular
have
basis.
to say, like the Jen and Leslie combo has been amazing. They hit it off immediately.
have a great
We're
time
on our
together.
5th episode coming up at the end
Mm-hmm.
of this month. So like definitely check that out. We promote it, but it's Sunday mornings at 11. And we kind of declare what Sunday that's going to be, and it's a different topic every time. But you said like Leslie is legit. She will never shame you ever, no
No.
matter what you're doing. But she will make it very relatable to life, and why you should be doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Super
it's
cool.
all about like choices,
Yeah.
right? So, I mean, definitely, I feel that way about our restaurant for sure. People who come there are coming there with intention. We don't even have a sign on the door. We don't even tell you what hours we're open. If you come and show up at Sprezzatura, I already told you the hours, so you'll have to hit rewind on the podcast.
Hit rewind.
Hit rewind. You can just show up and enjoy it. And the whole point is, Leslie gets that too. It's like,
Yeah.
let's keep this simple. It's about choices.
Yep.
When we make small choices about our health, about our well-being, about what we put in our mouths, and take care of ourselves well, like these cookies, then we're great. These are really simple cookies.
Talk to us.
Yeah. So this is St. Joseph's Day. Pretty much.
John, we just celebrated Father's Day.
Right.
Yeah.
So we should
And
describe.
And you're a grandfather.
For anybody listening to the
How about
podcast,
that? She
describe
just
what
said
we're
you're
seeing.
a grandfather.
Right?
Listen, Grandpa.
Grandpa
John. This is a sesame seed cookie. So, of course, one of the things people don't realize is, Sicily, of course, very close to North Africa. There's a lot of things happening Sicilian cooking that aren't happening in other parts of Italy, especially in the north where it's more like huntsman kinds of fare. In Sicily and in southern Italy, where part of my family is from, sesame seeds are a part of cuisine, and that's a part of the kind of Mediterranean diaspora, really. And these are really kind of dunkers, and you're meant to put them in your coffee. But we also,
Like a biscotti, Jen?
yep, like a biscotti. But you can also dunk this, I guess, in your dink it.
Dunk.
Dink and dunk
In
your wine
Or
So
your
people
tea.
also put this in your
Danielle.
wine or Danielle's tea and eat it. So last night there was a guy, he's from Southern Virginia, and he came in early to pick up his lasagna, because that always drives me crazy when people come in early to pick up a pan of lasagna.
Ever early.
Because it's
Who
still
does that?
it's still in the oven. And so we welcomed him to sit down and have some Prosecco with us, because that's what we do at Sprezzatura in the back. Don't tell anybody. And we invited him to take this cookie and put it right in his Prosecco and eat it. And he
what'd
did.
he say?
And he said, this is totally amazing. I would have never done this before. So these cookies aren't particularly sweet.
No, but they're good.
But they're good, and they have their own texture. This is fun. This is like
What's it called
something
again,
for
Jen?
kids. Baci di damas.
It looks
And-
like a little hamburger.
Yeah, it looks like a little hamburger, but it means the lady's kiss. And it's a Nutella.
Chicken
So it's like
Oh my God, I ate
meaning
one.
the two sides are kissing, right? So it's like the two little sides. And in the middle is Nutella. John needs a
It's
date,
Nutella.
everybody.
He
if you're
doesn't.
listening to
That's
the
why
podcast,
he's Yuck Girls.
you
He's like,
you
oh,
don't
God,
need a date.
no.
Okay.
He's-
John's got it worked out. So that's a
We
Nutella
just switched
cookie.
this to Tinder on John. This is fun. This is what you don't want. Rachel and Jen talking about John's love life.
Bad idea.
Or his kids tuning in.
And so we'll go to music.
Jen, where does
I'm gonna
everybody find you? Or should we bring Colin in?
No, I mean Colin's here, but
Isn't he the bestest?
Colin is the best.
Yeah. But go
guys.
ahead. Hit us with it. Yeah, Colin's the best. Go ahead.
You should check out our brand new website, which is beautiful and fabulous, also because of Colin, at www.sprezzaturapgh.com. It's really hard to spell it, but once you start typing in, it'll come up. You can like us, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at sprezzaturapgh. Again, Saffron and Sass, you can check that out. Some of those videos are right on our Facebook page.
They're on our
And
YouTube
as
They're
well.
on
On
the
your
Yajagoff
YouTube.
YouTube
Yeah.
page as well, if you subscribe.
You can also just show up and talk to
really
us
could,
at the
yeah.
cafe. We have that all the time. Sit, eat,
And be merry.
and be merry.
Jen,
Thanks.
you're the best. We could
No,
not
you are.
wish
I
you
love
more
you.
success and excitement about what you are always
Wait, we didn't say
doing.
anything about Meatball Madness.
Talk about me, Maude.
Wait,
Hurry up.
can we quickly say something about March Meatball Madness?
Yeah.
Okay, next Friday, from 6 until 8, it's the Final Four.
Oh, I forgot
It's
you
the
were doing
Final
that.
Four
Yeah, yeah.
meatballs.
Okay.
So it's March 25th. Thank you. That's the date. Colin is here to
Red
remind
pen
me
Colin.
of the actual date. So we've had a meatball bracket going all month long. Last night and the night before, it looks like Pork Pine Nut is pulling into the lead. But the other two meatballs that are also contenders right now are chicken parm and a vegetarian meatball called eggplant walnut, which is amazing. And I think we might even just put that right on the menu. People were freaking about it. In fact, people came to the market today and were like, can we buy these eggplant walnut meatballs? I was like, no.
That's how people who shop at Sprezzatura talk.
Yeah, they go, hey,
I want eggplant.
They all
Get
have
my
deep
eggplant.
voices, right?
I have a deep voice. But you can come, and for $20, you get to try the Final Four meatballs in a meatball flight with bread. You get a free glass of wine, and you get to vote. It's an emceed event with a DJ.
Boom.
It's very, very fun. There's going to be a dais of special judges that sit and give commentary just like we are right now.
Nice.
Jen, this is brilliant.
All right.
I love the meatball
It's fun.
madness.
There's a
Yeah.
bracket and everything
Right.
hanging on the wall.
Question of the day.
Question of the day, Jen. What's the longest you've kept a library book? And I feel like you're going to say never.
No,
I would always
I was a
return
very bad person twice. The first was I could not find this book and therefore could not get my diploma from Carnegie Mellon University. And this is a true story. This is a true story. When I graduated, I opened up my sheepskin, and in the inside was not a sheepskin. It was my library fine. And they said, when you pay this, you may get your sheepskin. And so I could
That is
not
the
get my
best story
photograph
ever.
taken with my parents. You know, when you hold your, yeah, no, it was closed. Yeah, it was closed.
Oh,
because
my God.
inside was a bill from CMU. Like,
That is hysterical.
Yeah.
I'd have to think what you pay to go to CMU.
Right.
They
Horrible.
It's
let
so-
you
it's
slide
so
on a
crazy.
10-cent a day book
yeah.
charge.
I mean, this was 1991, and I think the charge was like $146, which was like $8 million today or something, but it was like crazy. And then the other one was we went on family vacation, and my kids shoved a CD into, they were little, into the CD player, and it was there was already a CD in there, and I couldn't get it out. And it was some dumb movie about a dog, and I couldn't return it. And I was the president of the Friends of the Library at the branch, and they wouldn't help me figure out how to get this. I had to like tell them I was going to have to take this to the Ford dealer in order to return.
I'm glad Ethan's not
Yeah.
in here.
It was
Like,
a
I
bad
just think it
scene.
would upset him to
Yeah.
know that this is the debacle.
But they finally did it. And then the true story behind the true story is that when I went
Sore subject.
to
for Jen.
close
Yeah,
on
this
my
is the game.
house,
If you want to lay down on the table, Jen, you just go through
I'm
therapy.
just going to tell you,
We're
I went to
good.
close on my house.
Yeah. Recently.
No, years
Uh-huh.
ago. And the library fine was there under collections. And I had, this is a true story. This is a true story. In the bank, had to call the branch manager of the library and have him tell the mortgage lender that I had paid my fine.
Oh my God. Oh
True
my God, Jen.
story.
That is such a good story. I
That's
feel like
good.
you can't make that
Right.
up. No one else is
It
going to
was
be
so
that good.
humiliating.
Right.
Get your meatballs and
Right.
don't take Jen
Right.
to the library the next
No
time you
library.
go.
No library. I will
You're
never
the
go.
best. I know you got to
Okay.
go.
I
Good
love
to
you.
see you.
Bye,
Love
guys.
You.
Love
Bye.
you so much.
Thank
Ciao.
you, Jen.
Enjoy your cookies.
Cool.
Oh, thank you. Danielle, you're up. Yep.
And we have wipes there if you need them.
There's wipes and
Don't
two,
wipe the cookies.
2 cookies. They were really good, weren't they?
They are really, yeah, even the one that she said was bland was
Yeah.
good.
But how about those St. Joseph pants? Like I
Right.
knew what St. Joseph
Yeah,
was.
right.
I love you all.
No.
Is that your friend?
No, only when we're using the card. Thank you.
Bye. I love you.
Thank you.
Look at Colin. He's all over it. Bye, Jen. All right.
Hi,
Jen.
Jenny.
Hello.
Danielle,
All
we were
right.
supposed to talk
Danielle
for
might be
15 minutes, but Jen took up 26. Bye. It was good to see you. So you know how that goes.
Jen.
You know how that
Jen.
goes. You're used to that. So again, Danielle, a friend of the podcast, we've obviously been to her place before, not just for podcasting, but I'm sure John's going to want to tell the story of why we go there every Thanksgiving, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, so Danielle, like, I'm not a tea drinker, but I'm addicted
Literally,
to going.
you're like, I know.
I'm addicted to going to Danielle's place because my nephew is vegan, and he always comes around Thanksgiving. So I try to get him something special. And one year I dialed up Danielle and said, "What do you have?" And she sent me home with this wonderful meal. That I should have brought 3 of because you eat some on your way home. And
I was gonna say didn't you tell me you ate it all the way? You ate one all the way home.
so she makes these lentil loaves that are so
good.
fantastic.
Yes.
And I do have to buy 3 or 4 because everybody who's not even vegan wants to eat them.
Yeah.
And then
My
again, I have to
carnivorous
have one on the
Italian
way
family,
home.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
I took it to my in-laws, shocking, Kevin, and my in-laws loved it. And I was like, I might have to make that a tradition where I take the lentil loaves.
So
every
now
year.
we know that you used to have a name here in Millvale.
Yes.
And we're gonna be like, what is that Jewish tradition?
back.
We rip the lapel, right?
Yeah.
We rip the lapel. So every 9 or 10 seconds during this interview, we'll just keep saying the new name, which is.
Abeille Voyante Tea Company.
I'm glad you said that.
Thank
so,
That's what I thought.
It's very weird.
yeah.
not. It's not.
But-
the cool part is people are going to know, we say this on every podcast. Pittsburghers especially relate to what was, right? So they're going to say, well, we know it because it's Danielle's place. And it was,
Yes.
but now it's the new place that you have to go.
Abeille Voyante Tea Company.
Well done.
Truthfully, it is one of those places that it's like Cheers. Everybody who comes through Millvale, no matter what business you're talking about, they know your place. So
That's funny.
I love the fact that when we've been there, we observe people coming in there and saying, I'm pregnant, or I have this or
And it's
that.
every time,
And
yeah.
it's like going to the apothecary, and you're like, oh, well, I have this, and you just kind of create a tea for everybody's condition. It's pretty cool.
Thanks. That's kind of why we're now Abeille Voyante Tea Company.
Perfect.
great. You
See,
drink
John?
every
I'm
time.
very
she says
good.
it.
Very good at this. Very good at this. So we used to be Tupelo Honey Teas. A little bit of a legal struggle. And now we are Abeille Voyante Tea Company. And we are letting all of the anger go of how
have
that
a
all
tea for
happened.
that.
And we
I
are
see.
moving forward. We have a tea for that.
We have an anti-anger tea. It's whiskey.
We do have a little bit of that in the basement, not gonna lie.
That's why the Caesars is here, right?
That's why Jen and I are very good friends. She has behind the scenes stash, and so do I for those
You have
days.
to,
But
yeah.
No, so we basically Abeille Voyante Tea Company means the bee that can see into the future. Kind of like it's French. I actually have a degree in the language. I haven't used it in a very long time, but I've been a Francophile since all through high school and through college. And so the idea, actually, our neighbors across the street who are going to be on the podcast here shortly. They were also a little bit of an inspiration because it's just we've turned this little nook of Millvale into like this very cool little quirky, queer, loving, mystical.
Do you hear
yeah,
that?
quick.
What is it? Onomatopoeia? Wait. What am I trying? You know what I'm talking? Like you say it, alliteration?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
alliteration,
and
thanks.
so a lot of our blends, and like you were saying, John, people come in and say, I have this or that. I've read about herbs and teas and whatnot for a very long time. In fact, in college, people would be like, let's go to a party. And I'd be in my room reading my herb books, right? So I have a very bad thumb as well, Rachel. I've
talked about this, yeah.
I've killed mint twice somehow.
That's. Oh my
I know. It's a superpower. It's a superpower.
Wow,
I
you
don't know how I
yeah.
did it, but I did. I've killed mint twice.
I
Not
feel
once,
like we're
twice.
like a cathartic podcast today. Do you feel like that? Yeah.
But a lot of that intuition just comes naturally of what, and when we don't know I look things up, and I try to be very conscious about what we put together for people. So just that whole idea of like using our intuition to blend and do what we do is where the name came from.
That's awesome. Rattle off a couple of no-brainers that you get on a regular basis when they come in and say, like John said, because it literally does happen. People just will kind kind of, I mean, you have a steady audience of people who repeat customers, but there's also people who have heard of you and come in and go, okay, I have this, you know, chronic pain, or I'm pregnant, or
Right.
hot flashes, you know, something. What are a couple that you could throw out?
So we get a lot of people who come in and say like, I can't sleep, you know,
yeah,
or
that's a
I
good
have a
one.
really hard time sleeping. And so we go through like, is it falling asleep? Is it once you're to sleep, you know, that you have a problem staying asleep? We get a lot of people who are pregnant or nursing. In fact, last week, twice in the same day, 2 different people came in. One was pregnant and the other one, or they're both pregnant. No, one was pregnant, one had just delivered, and they were both looking for something, you know, for, you know, their bodies and that would be safe for the babies. We get high blood pressure a lot. My favorite is the Dr. Oz syndromes. So
It's not a political ad. I
no,
swear.
no, not at all.
No,
But they'll call.
Now they come in and say, "Can you give me something to cancel these political
I
ads?"
can't.
Right.
I can't.
It's-
I didn't
do
know
you
what
have
rhino
anything
meant.
to stop
That's
it?
whiskey again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, they so a lot of people say to me, and I've had this since, you know, so prior to being here in Millvale, we had a shop in Allison Park, and then prior to that, we were in the first public market under the 16th Street Bridge, and it started there. Where people would come through, and I always knew what Dr. Oz was talking about because they'd be like, "Oh, Dr. Oz said I need this," and I was like, "Well, did you talk to Dr. Oz directly, or are you just watching a program?"
Yeah.
But I had somebody call recently, and I say recent within the last couple years, but called and said, "Okay, well, Dr. Oz said that you should have this tea in the morning, you should have this tea in the afternoon, and you should have this tea at night." So I was like, okay, let's start with unpacking this. So what is it that you're looking for this? And it turned out that one of the teas that Dr. Oz had recommended to this person was licorice root. Well, and I said, well, drinking licorice root by itself, it actually can cause you to have high blood pressure. Do you have high blood pressure currently? Well, yeah, I'm on medicine for that. So you should not definitely drink.
Well,
Then
there
you should not be
go.
drinking this.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just knowing like the contraindications of herbs and how that reacts with your body.
That's
and
so
the med
cool to
you're on
know.
and
I
whatever,
wouldn't even
but-
think of that, but I guess as you grow, you have to figure out some of those.
Yeah.
You know, and by no means, obviously, full disclosure, you're not a doctor, you're not a
Nope,
professional.
not a
in that
doctor,
way,
not
but
even. Yep, nope.
Yeah,
This is
but
just
to kind of trial and error and know what's best. I love it.
Yeah.
And your tea is great. I mean,
Thank
I have
you.
to say, I'm not even a huge tea drinker, and I love it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Just like
No, no.
like
I
the
just-
lentil loaves. I mean, who would have thought?
Right.
You know, he tells this story, and I'm like, you know, us, we're like on a time frame. He's like, I have to swing by Danielle's in Millvale. I was like, okay, and we're getting lentil loaves. What is happening? Who am I?
What
and
is
then,
this?
like, we tried it, and you're right. You're just hooked.
Yeah,
completely.
it's crazy. And, you know, just as we get ready to do the question of the day, thank you, because you've been a friend of the podcast and the blog forever. You sell our Christmas parking chairs every year
Yes.
made by Mary Mack. We've done podcasts in your place. So,
And I actually was at the podcast. Do you remember the one we did? It was a long time ago, and with the pipette of alcohol into the. This is why I love the podcast.
Oh,
it was.
God.
I think it was even before Rachel
Maybe
was part of the
PR.
podcast.
yeah.
It was the pipette, remember?
No,
and
yeah.
Byron Nash was on it.
Byron Nash, yeah.
Should we plug that real quick? We're with Byron Nash every other Sunday for Bridging the Gap.
Oh my-
I just saw that you guys. Yeah, he was playing on a podcast. I was like, oh, I was on with him.
That
and,
was when we
he's
found
great.
out the story that Byron Nash had been my bartender
Yes,
the night
yes!
before.
Story.
And forgot to give you my ATM card back.
The ATM card.
Yeah,
Yes.
had no idea.
That's the connection.
Had no
There
idea.
you
Right,
go.
right.
Yeah.
All right. So the name of the place again is, say it 3 times like
3 times.
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
Like Beetlejuice. Oh, awesome. Abeille Voyante Tea Company.
Right.
Abeille Voyante Tea Company.
Everybody.
Abeille Voyante
Voyante
Tea Company.
I'm a toy.
Yeah. Harmonize now.
Where does everybody find you? On social?
Yes.
Do they have to spell
so,
that out?
No. So we are also co-branding as AVT Co because it's much easier. So like A as in Apple, V as in Victor. T Co.
Kyriakis, Victor
Yes,
Kyriakis.
and we're still kind of in the middle of the rebrand, to be honest with you. This has been a lot of work and also exhausting work. So we're in the process of still doing a bunch of things. Like our website is still at tupelohoneyteas.com, but that will be changing over soon. So yeah.
Just stop by. It's in Millvale, right next to the
You
library.
can find us at Abeille Voyante Co on Facebook and Instagram. Actually, our Facebook Tupelo Honey Teas is still out there, but we're going to be abandoning that and going over to the new one.
Nice.
So
Just
All right.
stop and get tea.
Let's
All
get to
right,
the.
give us the library.
As my
scandal.
daughter would
The
say, let's
library.
get the real
Get
tea.
to the tea.
get
yeah.
to the,
Right.
spill the tea.
Spill
Well,
the
that's
tea.
other
Spill the
thing.
tea.
You
That's
guys want
dope.
to do a spill the tea segment? Call me. But
Tea.
spilling the tea with the tea lady.
I love it. What's the longest?
I don't know what the longest is, but I can tell you right now, I keep getting emails about a book that I've had out for several months.
This is great. This was such a good question,
Yeah.
Paige.
It was a good
Yeah,
question. That's 2 in
it's-
a row. 2 weeks in a row. She nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
So,
it's scandalous. Like
it
you're not
is.
having like mortgage issues like Jen. But
No, not mortgage issues. But this morning every day I'm like, oh, I need to remember that book. And then, at night I remember and then don't put it in my car. And then you
Yeah.
leave in the morning and you're like driving and you're like, oh, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So,
Just
but
make sure you return the tools to the tool library.
this
Yeah.
is why I
Good.
love the Millvale Community
So
Library,
great.
though.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
We should have asked the same question to Rachel, but flip it in that. How long have you held something that need to be returned to Macy's? It would, you wouldn't have mortgage issues, but it'd be real
Lost
long.
money. Yeah, lost money.
I know,
Definitely lost
right?
money.
I
Yeah.
know.
And then I
Jeez,
fight
yeah.
with them. I'm like, wait.
you're
a
like,
second.
wait.
This receipt did not
You
say
got this for your
years.
communion.
Yeah, right. Right. Danielle, it's always a pleasure, and we will be back to spill the tea. Right.
Spill the
All right, thank
Cool.
you. And actually, kudos to Danielle because everyone else who we didn't know, which we're kind of entering that segment, you hooked us up with.
Yeah.
So I
well, these are
appreciate
some
it.
of my favorite
The
people.
Millvale connection.
The connection.
These are my
Nice.
favorite people in Millvale. So.
Who
All
do I
right.
have next? Alayna. So Alayna is the owner and operator of Vintage 416. 416. I want to find out why it's 416. I know why it's 416.
416, it's my address.
I know, right? Well, at first I thought it was 412.
Right,
you know,
everyone
because
thinks
that's
the
always
area code.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then I read somebody was like, I thought it was 412, and then I'm like, what's her address? How did
Yeah.
you not figure that out?
Yeah,
so
416 North Avenue. Just wanted to be easy to find. And there is another I think it's called Vintage 412, but they do antiques. So
Yeah.
I just
yeah.
wanted
okay.
to
Yeah.
All right.
be separate.
But listen, what's really cool is, I mean, again, kudos to Danielle because as we, presented her that we were going to have people beyond Kevin and Jen and herself, she said, these are the folks you have to have.
Yes, yes.
So, and Colin actually has been to your shop and says, like, you need to check it out.
the
So,
best.
80s and 90s, is that pretty much?
I
or-
have, right now in the shop, I have 1940s through the 1990s right now.
Oh my God.
Wait, what era is
Clothing.
Miss
Maisel,
Maisel?
that's my shit.
Yes.
Listen, though, I said it had a slow start on season 4, but now I'm like, wow, are they brilliant?
But do you have that era of clothing there?
Oh, sorry, I digress.
Yes.
I
yes.
digress. We won't talk. Miss
Rachel's
Maisel,
like, let's talk amongst yourselves. We got hold on.
Yes,
After.
there's actually some vintage shops. There's like 31 vintage stores in Pittsburgh, I think,
Yeah.
and there's
Oh,
a
wow.
couple that actually give their merchandise for that specific show. So
Oh my gosh.
Good
we
for
need to
them.
get you to do that. Yeah. Let's pick another series for you to do it. So 40s on. Why there?
well, I feel like sometimes once fabric, I do have things from like the 1920s and the 1930s, but when fabric gets to be about 100 years old, sometimes it just gets a little, the grease
Sure.
on the fingers over 100 years, the fabric gets a little brittle, maybe just better to look at.
Were you in the fashion scene? Is that what's the reason for the vintage?
I have loved vintage clothing since I was a little girl. I had this
me too.
big box of like dress up clothes, and I always just loved playing dress up. I went to school for fashion. I worked at the Limited 2 forever. Do you remember Limited 2
I do.
from like
Yeah.
white 90s?
Yeah.
So I was obsessed with like just seeing all this joy and happiness from these little girls running in the store.
cute.
Like, I gotta have it.
Yes.
Like completely destroying the store, but it's fine.
Yeah, they did. My niece Paige always shopped there at different Paige, but yeah.
So I wanted to bring that same kind of feeling back
Yeah.
and incorporate the dress up. So in the evenings, I rent out the shop for dress up parties. So you can come in.
Stop. Paige, stop it. Oh my God. That's awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can,
so
like,
for
relive.
for young girl parties or anyone.
Anyone. I've done Sweet 16s. I've had bachelorette parties. I've even had a group of retired teachers who came in and did like a walk down memory lane.
John, Merry Widows.
Yeah, there
How
you
much
go.
would they love
Right.
that? We actually produce a podcast of women who are widows,
Yeah.
and they're always looking for unique. They travel in a van. They literally will show up. They'll BYOB. We're gonna get
I
them there.
love
we
it.
should do
Yeah,
an
that's
episode.
what you do. Just bring your own cocktails,
is so
snacks. And I
smart.
live upstairs, so I'm just there
Yeah.
if you need me.
Now, how long have you been there?
So I got my building in October of 2019.
Okay.
It was a beauty salon before I got the building, so I had to renovate, get rid of all like the sinks and
Sure.
hair for ages. But
I
there
bet.
was an apartment above the building, so it just kind of worked out that I could renovate the bottom, live upstairs, and then when it was time, flip flop and go from
And
there.
have you seen an increase in business since the dreaded COVID times? I mean, I know we're still navigating by all means, but
Well, I opened October of 2020. Everything got pushed back. I wanted to open in
Sure.
April of 2020, but it's just been, I don't even know what like normal
Yeah.
is.
Sure, right.
I'm
That's
not
absolutely right.
sure what to
Yeah.
what's going on.
Sure,
but
sure.
I'm still here.
But
doing
look
good.
how resourceful you were to turn something, like just having a passion for clothing and then figuring out other ways to kind of brand it and bring people in to enjoy it.
How far do you have to go search to stay within your theme of clothing? Do you get on the internet and buy things?
So
or?
I have a little bit of a shopping problem that I've just disguised as the store.
That's a really good idea.
I do. I like to source things locally. I'll go to people's homes, even in Millvale. Ladies will have me over to look through their closets. I look for stuff online, estate sales. I work with a vendor in Philadelphia, like basically anywhere. If there's clothes, I'm in. I'm there.
Yeah.
If someone
so
makes
cool.
something look like an era, like it's made today and looks like another era, will you take that, or it has to be genuine?
For me to keep my integrity as like a vintage business,
Yeah.
it has to be 20 years or older
Okay.
for something to be considered vintage. But I'm all for, repro
Sure.
too. Some of the vintage sizing can be
Yeah.
so backwards from today's. Like these, for example, I can't fit into 1970s.
Well, that's a really good point.
Describe what she has on.
So if you're just listening and didn't see it, I love the fact that they're fuchsia.
Thank you.
I mean, really, fuchsia bell bottoms that are frayed at the bottom. But you're right. In the 70s, their waists were literally like
Yeah,
I mean,
people
we've
are just
certainly
built-
evolved on what. Yeah.
built differently.
Yeah, our water's different now.
The water's
That's our
water's
answer,
different.
right?
Yeah.
No, it's so true, and it's a good thing specifically for women because it was a time where you needed to be a certain way, and it's not like that anymore.
Right.
So I think
yeah.
that's a good thing to kind of say we've moved.
Not
along.
healthy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely not
healthy.
healthy.
Yeah.
Diets.
I mean, I've been mistaken for Bo Derek, but not recently. So.
Yeah. Once you get garments from like the 50s on back, usually
Yeah.
only like my high school shoppers can fit into
Yeah,
the
exactly.
garments.
Exactly. Well, I love the fact that you're in Millvale. What do you think what first of all drew you to Millvale, and why do you think they're come with all of these different vintage places as you've mentioned? Why are they coming to you? What makes it? I mean, you have me. I'll be coming because just you can see your passion. But what do you think it is?
Sure. I think it's got to be my dog Louie.
Oh. That's
I
it.
have nothing to do with it. It's my bulldog. Everybody loves to come to Millvale and see my dog.
Okay.
He's a shop dog. He's a bulldog, and he's like the other mayor of Millvale.
Do you dress him?
No, he hates clothes.
Oh,
I don't know.
yeah.
He,
Most dogs do.
Yeah, he just like freezes.
Yeah.
Clothes
I
on him.
understand. So does Tanner.
Um,
But describe if someone hasn't been there, if they're walking in, what can they expect at your shop?
So I'm a big pink building on North Avenue. You walk in, pink walls, chandeliers, disco ball in the back, just lots of bright colors.
Yeah.
I do. I know a lot of stores do sizing. Put
Yes.
things into. I do things by color, which
Okay.
is a little.
Well, that's your merchandising.
Yeah, a little confusing, but I just like everything to be really pleasing to
Yeah.
the eye.
Do you do rainbow?
Yes.
Oh,
Roy G. Biv.
that's my Chico's days. I know it's.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
Roy G. Biv. Yeah, I know exactly,
Yeah.
sister. I know exactly
We need
what
to
it looked
take
like. And the
Rachel
black and white up here.
Carlson to her store, right?
Yeah. Do you know
Rachel
Carlson?
Carlson? That
She's
used
like
to
the vintage-
run Yelp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's actually organizing the Heinz History Center vintage
Oh,
event.
Yeah.
that's
yes,
coming
that's
up.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know all about it.
All
So
right.
if somebody, real quick though, so if somebody calls you and says, "Hey, I'm looking for this," is that something that you can offer where you say, "I have this"? Because I want to be very clear. It's not for like Halloween. This is all the time. That this is an
Yeah.
appreciation for a particular era.
Yeah, absolutely. People send me messages all the time on social media, like, "Hey, I'm looking for this." And I love, just sending pictures. I'm like, "Here's a couple options for
I
you.
love that. You're
Come
like a
by
personal
anytime."
shopper. Yeah, you know where we're stopping next time you want a vegan loaf.
Yes.
We're going over there.
Real quick, can I
Yeah,
put so
please.
Jen Sprezzatura has been so kind enough to invite me to do a fashion show.
Oh, yeah.
Earth
Talk about
Day.
it. Yep.
So April 22nd. Jen's doing like a fun little menu, and then in between courses, I'm going to have some models walk through with different looks from different eras.
I want to MC that, and I forgot to tell her that I want to MC that because I used to MC for all of like the bigger fashion shows because I
I
wrote
love
for
it.
Fanfare, and I
Yeah.
would love to see what you're doing. So
Yeah.
we'll just horn right in there and tell Jen that's what we're doing. But yeah, that's a great plug, and we'll certainly include it. Where does everybody find you, follow you, all that good stuff?
So my website is www.vintage416.com. Easy enough. And my Instagram, social media is also vintage416.
I love when it's easy.
Easy peasy.
It's so easy. All right,
How many
you know.
people come in and correct you?
Come and correct me.
You're like, it's supposed to be 412.
Oh,
does anyone-
yeah. Usually I just say, well, it's my address.
Yeah, you're like, I can just see
Stupid.
Pittsburghers coming in. It's 412.
Yeah, what the hell does she know?
Right.
You know the question of the day. Do you want me to repeat it? Do you have a felony with the library situation?
So I'm a Virgo, so I'm very like meticulous about things. But I will say, for my price tags, I use old paper instead of new. I'm big on like anti-fast fashion. Lots of, I don't like to add to the collective. Let's use what's here. So,
Okay.
anyways, I have a book from Shaler High School Library from the 80s that I don't know where it came from. It's been
Don't tell anyone.
longer than I've been alive, but I've been cutting it up and using it as my price tags.
That is so funny. Let's hope they don't know. Well, you're repurposing it, so I think they'll be
Exactly.
fine. They'll be fine. That's a good answer. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to meet
Thanks
you.
for
Yeah, it's a
having me.
pleasure
Nice
to meet you. This is great. Thank
Come
you.
by anytime.
When John enjoys fashion talk, it's a good
You know
podcast.
me.
Yeah, seriously. All right, we have Maude's Paperwing Gallery. I'm excited because I think whichever one
Just
of
like-
you answered me, well, I'll just start
Go
talking to
ahead.
you. Whichever one of them answered me said that they were on the Goal on Goal podcast. And that there's a ghost. Now, I'm not a paranormal. There is a ghost. I'm not a paranormal person, so you might want to tackle that one. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
And who are we talking to?
My name's Athena.
And I'm Indigo.
Who was not going to be here but is? Is it because you... well, welcome. I'm glad that you could be here. This is great. So start with... Go ahead. Do you want to...
So wait, do you believe in ghosts? I mean, are there ghosts here in the library right now? Wait, the goal on goal is not...
I was right.
Yeah,
This
the-
entire area of the city is
So haunted.
incredibly haunted.
So haunted.
Is
Danielle's
that right?
tea shop,
Yeah,
so haunted.
Yes, Millvale is incredibly haunted. And in fact,
Yeah.
I actually do recommend you go listen to the Ghoul and Ghoul podcast because we talk a lot about the history of Millvale.
I did. Yeah, I did hear the
Yeah.
beginning. Yes.
Yeah, and because this used to be a poor farm for the city.
I hate that.
So many dead people.
I am a brainwashed Catholic. I don't believe in any of this.
All right, well, you stick around Millvale long enough, you'll start believing.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I did hear you say that. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's wild. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So, but in your particular area, you believe that there's a ghost that lives there.
We do. We have so much trouble with electronics. So actually, when Ghoul on Ghoul was there, we got about like a third of the way into the conversation, and then they realized that all of their equipment had shut off. And we were like, wait, what? And we had to start all over.
Yeah. They shut off our
If
electronics.
this shuts down, we're kicking you out.
I think we're safe over here.
Yeah, okay.
Harold he's stuck in the back of the
I
shop.
can remember. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's stuck back there. So so he
Did
doesn't.
you see Rachel looking around? She's looking for the
I
holy
did. I was
water.
like, where's Harold?
She's looking for the holy water somewhere. Yeah.
Somebody, I'm like blessing myself and I'm saying the novenas. Oh my gosh. No, but it is interesting. I mean, paranormal is certainly interesting. And I love that you're like Harold. Like, so you're nice to Harold so that everything's
Well,
sort of copacetic.
we yell at him a
Yeah.
lot.
I
Yeah.
A medium told us that he hates me the most. And I think it's
true.
because I do antagonize him a little bit, but like in a friendly, it's just that he like hates
Women.
us and because we're women.
He's
And
one of
so when I
those.
come in the morning, I'm like, good morning, Harold. And I think he hates it.
Yeah, I would have to
That
agree.
is hysterical.
Yeah.
I deep down love it, but I'm so scared that he's going to jump on me now.
Oh.
Wait,
a little
Tracy, when we're driving home today, we're going to Harold, get in the back seat.
We are not. We are not.
So tell us about what you guys do here in Millvale.
So the official phrasing is we are a metaphysical supply and LGBTQIA gift shop. But like the non-real, the technical terms is we're a queer witch shop. That's what we do. We do queer shit and we do witchy shit.
Okay. Awesome. And serious question, are you the only ones around? Like, is there what's your competition?
Well, there's plenty of metaphysical shops in
sure.
Pittsburgh.
But I think we focus so much on fostering a healthy queer community and like being a safe space for the queer community in a way that I think, not that I would say like other witch shops are homophobic, but it's just like, I think that we are like loudly like, hey, we are a space for you to come. And also, so it's like, you know, while we also want to be there for people who are like getting into metaphysical stuff, they have questions about crystals or something, we also want to be there as a space for like, if there's like a young person or an older person that's like just coming to terms with their queerness and they like want to ask questions, like we want to be a safe space for anyone.
Oh, that's great.
Jewelry, we always hear, don't just hang in there. Jewelry, you never go
gave him
to
a
a
look
mall. You go to a local, you know, they say never buy jewelry in a mall. We know that there are these metaphysical places that sell like salt stone or stones and things like that. Is the rule the same? Like, should we be going to more of like a home cook
Yes,
kind of shop,
absolutely.
right?
And actually, that's a big thing right now is like main big box stores are picking up metaphysical stuff because it's becoming trending.
Yes.
So I see lots of posts that are like, oh my gosh, Target has tarot cards now. And in my heart, I'm like, oh God, no. So like, especially crystals and especially like healing herbs, you want to go to some place that actually sources well, you know, from reputable sources, and cares for what they have and isn't going to scam you or fake you. Or, you know, you have to be someone who knows about the product you're selling in order to have a good quality product. So I would absolutely say if you're looking for supplies for witchcraft, anything metaphysical, spiritual, you want to go to some place that actually knows what they're doing.
And talk about that. How do you get into that you know what you're doing? What's that like? Because with any, right? I mean, fair question. Because like anything that you master, right? Yeah. The more practice you have, of course. But how do you initially start that?
Well, Indigo was raised a witch.
Yes. Yeah.
So she knows.
It's just been my whole
And what is
life.
that like?
It was really fun. I mean, the thing is that like, so actually I'm a local, I went to Shaler, you know, so I like grew up around here and stuff and, was definitely like the weird witchy girl at Shaler.
Okay.
But like, you know, so it's one of those things that like, I didn't really know that I was any different until I was like going to school and stuff and like, I realized that I was raised very differently. But I think that the thing is, like it was mostly my mom, and my mom very much wanted me to know about the world and everything. So it was never like, you know, like, well, you have to do this. It was just like, here's what I do. If you don't want to do that, you can do other stuff. Like we can, you know, like take you to church. If you want to go to church, we could do that. You know, like whatever you want to be, you know, focusing on, we can do that. It was just like, you know, but I ended up really loving it. Yeah. I particularly, my mom and I are both like kitchen witches, like lots of baking and stuff like that.
Define witch, though.
So here's the thing is like, I think that there is such this like stigma around the word and stuff. But so like I've told people like I'm like, you're a witch, and they're like, what? No, I not me. Like I could not like that they're offended, but they're just they're like, but I'm just like a normal person. I'm like, okay, but like you are like, you know, really knowledgeable about like Danielle's a witch. Like, you know,
just call it like it is.
Yeah. You know, like
you.
Yeah,
Her kids have called her that too, but it's different things.
But like, you know, like you are so knowledgeable about herbs and stuff. Like it's all these things that like, you know, like basically, I mean, like doctors, like midwives, like they used to call them witches and stuff. Yeah. You know, it's all this stuff that it's just about like breaking down the word. Like, you know, it's like people might find the word offensive or find it weird or something, but I don't. I embrace it. I think that there's so much beautiful history and culture around strong women, especially like, I mean, also men and non-binary people, but like, I think that there's such a community of women that were empowered by being able to just be badasses and do stuff on their own, like know medicine, know all of these things,
and trust their instincts and trust their gut. Anyone who like is in tune with their instincts, they're like on that path already.
I'm such a witch.
But honestly, I think that people should embrace it more. And I think that like it's definitely become like trendy.
It's trending now.
But like I think it's a good thing. I think it's that like a lot of like young women and older women are finding so much confidence and power in this, feeling like they can reclaim their like, you know, energy and their strength.
Yeah. And I mean, on the other end of the scale, I actually was raised Christian. My mom was a deacon. And I have a bachelor's in Catholic theology, you know, so I came to the path very differently. And what really got me was, you know, I did so much reading and studying while I was doing my theology degree. It's the same thing. I just do so much reading and studying, and I see so many similarities to what I learned in, you know, my Catholic theology. And so, yeah, it just feels very natural to have stepped into this world and just like start learning things, like touching herbs, feeling things. So yeah, anyone can step into the world of witchcraft.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's about being in touch with these less or more worldly, earthly things
Yes,
than
absolutely.
it is the material things, right?
And talk about, since the podcast is audio, when they do come into your place, just like we said with Alayna, what do we expect? What's there? What can we see? What will you do? The tarot card thing is also a thing.
Oh,
right?
yes.
We have a huge selection.
We do. But the first thing that you're going to notice is the rainbows just
So
freaking
rainbow.
everywhere.
Yeah, okay.
Rainbows, glitter, everything's like purple. We are very loudly queer because we just want people to know where this is what we are. Don't expect something different when you come in the door. But yeah, we have a very huge tarot selection. We have so many crystals. I have a problem with buying crystals. That's my shopping addiction, personally.
That's kind of what everybody's doing here today.
Yeah, you open a shop so that you can fill it with all the things that you don't have room for in your home.
That's right. Yeah, right. It's your walk-in closet extension. Yeah, no, that's awesome.
But we also have like we have greeting cards and gifts. So like even if you you need something to like give to someone, you can just pop in the store, grab a card, grab a gift. We have a huge book library, like
we're
book selection,
expanding constantly.
Everything from witchcraft to resources for queer individuals and parents and teachers, and
great
also
resource,
lots of mental health stuff. We're big on. We have a whole section on emotional wellness. So we're big fans of those things. So we put it in our store.
You were doing this thing before it was a thing.
You
know what I mean?
Yes.
I mean that. I mean,
Yeah.
I say that
I
all
love
the
it.
time. Like,
All right, so
Gosh.
remind everybody, where do they find you guys
where
online?
do they find you?
We are online. We have a beautiful website.
Yes.
Made by Harold.
So, yeah, honestly. But yeah, so we have a website, maudespaperwinggallery.com. And we have Instagram, Facebook, and our new thing that we have that we're really excited about is we have a Discord channel, because we found a lot of people, we would say like, oh yeah, we have like a big community on Facebook because we have like a Facebook community group, and a lot of people were like, I need to get off social media for my mental health. Like it's made it really hard. So we were trying to find a solution that was like not social media based for people to chat. Discord is an app that does that. So it's just like a chat group. So like people just post like memes, pictures of their pets, but they can also ask questions like, hey, what's a good crystal for this? Or like, I'm really going through a rough time right now. Like what would be something that I could do for that?
That's a great thing. I love it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to clarify that it's Maude, like Harold and Maude the movie. It's just a coincidence that our ghost is named Harold.
Oh.
Like it literally is just a coincidence.
I like you, but
We're named after Harold and Maude. Maude, the character from the movie, is just like a super badass, and we love her. So we do also have an event coming up with Sprezzatura too, because
Jen, get it.
I know, right? She's putting together a summer solstice dinner for us. So Indigo's put together some inspiration, and
I'm excited.
Yeah,
It's actually also my birthday, so it's gonna be like my birthday dinner, but that wasn't why they came up with the idea.
yeah.
But
And what's that date?
so that's gonna be June 21st, summer solstice,
Awesome.
longest day of the year,
Colin
longest
does
party.
Jen's social media, so
Oh,
it'll
okay.
be good.
Yeah, it'll be out there. Yeah.
got it.
We're
All right.
super excited.
Question of the day, ladies.
Oh boy.
It's the library question. I feel like you guys do not have scandal.
Oh.
Do you?
I do. I don't borrow physical things anymore. I only borrow electronic versions that return themselves. Because when I was doing my master's, I luckily did not go to a university where I got my books from also. So I did not have a problem getting my diploma, but I did pay, I think, over $250 in fines because I just kept the books till I was done with my master's thesis. I don't do library
Scandal.
physical books.
I have always been such a book nerd, and like honestly, because I went to Shaler, and the intermediate school was right across from the Shaler library, so like I would just go there after school. So like I was not going to be late on anything because they knew me.
where you were.
So like, you know, and I was there like every day. So I was
Yeah.
just like, all right, finished it. Here you go.
Yeah.
So I usually try to stay pretty on top of
So
it.
your answer is never.
Not that I can. I don't
She's the
think
only
I've
one.
ever
Yeah.
been
Thank God.
late.
Thank God there's someone who is,
Right.
obliges the rules. But thank you so much for coming on. Glad we got to learn
thank
a
you
little
so
bit
much for
more. We'll have to
having
come in
us.
and check it out
Yeah,
also.
definitely.
Yeah.
Brace for rainbows.
Yeah, we
Yes.
have we have two more guests
Kev.
coming. We have two more guests. The
bring it up.
next one we're going to talk about drinking
Woohoo! That makes it more
alcohol.
fun. So full disclosure, I love Kevin. We'll talk about. I will not cry. The last time I talked about Kevin, I cried because as I introduced him, Kevin and our families have been friends forever. And Kevin's sister was one of my best friends, not just like in passing, like literally, we were best
She
friends.
would have been one of my best customers.
Yes, she would have. We talked about that for St. Patrick's Day. And unfortunately, she passed way too unexpectedly. And so I've always considered Kevin a brother of mine. And I'm so proud of him to be opening, especially in this place, because Millvale is such a great place. And that's why I was like, Kev, you need to meet these people. It's such a welcoming community. Is that the feel you got for Caesar's Alehouse? We'll say that a bunch of times too, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. We've been getting a lot of local crowd. Things have been going really good. Just to tell you, I guess, a little bit about the background of how we even ended up with the place. My wife's father, he owned it in the 70s, and it was Caesar's House in the 70s. So now that we're open at Caesar's Alehouse, we get a lot of the older folks, and they remember when it was Caesar's House in the 70s because it was one big nightclub. So a lot of the older folks that come around, they remember dancing and boogieing down, and bands from all over were playing there. So what happened is how we ended up with it is in 2018, my wife's father passed away, and then somebody else had an offer on the building. So it was under agreement, and we were kind of looking at it, but not really at that time. And then I guess in 2018 that big flood in Millvale happened.
Yeah, right. Well, it's a flood area, right? I mean,
So-
let's make that. Oh, yeah.
For
Yeah.
us, it was literally a perfect storm because after
Good
that
pun.
after that flood, the buyer backed out, and then that's how we got into the picture. The lady accepted our offer, and we were excited. And then 5 days later, the world shut down.
For COVID, yeah.
So then we just sat on it for about 18 months, just taking our good old time fixing it up, and there was no rush. It took us 18 months when it really should have took about 3 months. But I can definitely attest that Millvale is haunted. Because
Listen, we have a
He went
night.
to St. Cyril. Just
We
FYI.
need to have a nighttime podcast. So go ahead, tell us your story.
I worked in the bar for the last 18 months fixing it up, and a lot of times I was there by myself. And usually you'd hear the ice maker, you might hear some creaks and other noises, but there are a bunch of times I was like, what in the heck was that? Like, I'd have to go look and search because it was just like odd noises, and it happened a lot. And there's a couple times where like I'm working by myself, and I don't believe in ghosts, but I had to walk outside. I'm like, all right, I got to get outside for a little bit. So we might have to buy a crystal for the bar that can protect us.
Just walk in and
or
do
just,
something.
yeah. Listen, I think it's a great story to get people drinking heavier. That's all.
Yeah, you better drink up, bro.
Bring
You know, the more
Harold's
you drink,
coming.
the more you'll see the ghosts.
Bring your little
Yeah.
ghost machines and see if we can pick something up while we're
Get
having
the
a drink.
specter detector
Yeah.
out. I think you need these like fake little beeping things. Just sit with that.
But I'm not even joking. There's so many noises in there that like
Is
just
that right?
freaked me out. Yeah.
And have you had time, because you just opened, have you had time to kind of go back and think of like who it might have been, who it might be?
No.
Okay.
And, no, I haven't really given it much thought. We've talked about it, but we haven't really dived into maybe what it is or why.
When you invite them in to investigate,
you
we
go.
will be there for a podcast.
Yeah.
John will.
We will be there.
I'll take pictures from outside.
So the cool thing is that we came to your place a couple of times, but we had a really good time on St. Patrick's Day, Parade Day. But The bar is beautiful. Like the bar itself, the actual wooden bar is beautiful.
Yeah.
The place is super nice. And then you have good food there. So, and okay, you also carry the yajagoff beer, which is, but the place is just done so well. It looks like that just walk in and know everybody bar.
So the funniest thing is we've done a ton of work to the place, and I swear, like, we were just working on it and a lot of the behind the scenes type stuff. But the one thing that we didn't touch was the woodwork. It was original from the 90s. And that's the only compliment we get is how nice the woodwork looks. I'm like,
shut
is somebody going to compliment something I actually touched around here? But no.
I like the bathroom.
Yeah, the bathrooms, we get a lot of compliments on the bathrooms. But the woodwork, it was done in the 90s, and it's still in, like, perfect shape. The seams and everything, you can't even see any nails or anything. So the woodwork's fabulous. And at first, when I bought it and I started working on it, it was like wood. So I'm like, this is going to be like kind of a shoebox. But then what we did is, we basically lightened up the floors and we did all the other work. So it made it all work together. So now when people come in there, like, people are actually like, this is a classy place. I'm like, what? Our place?
That's exactly.
Like, I never imagined that anybody would say that.
I agree.
About something that I own. So, but yeah, it's cozy, it's comfortable, and some people even think it's classy. Women love the ladies' rooms because
It's a great ladies' room. You know how you want a decent ladies' room. You know what I mean? And it's nice. My daughter came out and she was like, Mom, she like got the elastic on her pants. She's like, that was a great ladies' room. I was like, well, good. I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad you enjoyed that. But no, you know, to describe it, you're right. It is narrow. But I think what that creates is this like homey atmosphere because you're still away from the bar. So if you want to take your family in, right, that's the thing. You want to go have a drink. It's been a rough day. You can go up to the bar. But there's also these really cool four tops that are directly across that you can sit with your family like we did.
Yeah, exactly. Now, talk about when you open a bar. Like, a lot of people's dreams are to open a bar because they just want to have a good time, right?
Yeah.
And then, you know, it's like sort of like, it's just that thing. We want to own a bar, but it's just not that easy.
It's tough.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you, whatever your opening date you pick is, add 6 months.
Right.
Because, like, we kept trying to open and it was just always something. And there's so many things that you don't even think about because you're just, like, trying to get the things that you can see
right.
Fixed and straightened out. But then, yeah, there's just a lot of little things that need to be done to actually open. A lot of vendors, last-minute vendors got to come in and make sure you're all stocked up and everything's working. So, yeah, we tried opening in, I think it was like Memorial Day of last year, and we didn't open until Halloween, after Halloween. So we added 6 months to our opening date because it was just always something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it takes a lot of
But
work.
look how quickly it's grown because you came in talking about how you have comedians there tonight. There's so many other things that you're having. You have theme nights.
Yeah, we've been trying to bring people in to, just basically do whatever. We've had a couple young musicians just from the Shaler area. They come down and play, and they bring their family and a good following, so it's been working out pretty good. Tonight we have comedians coming in, and there's going to be about 4 or 5 of them, so it's going to be a fun night tonight. On the 27th of this month, we have Dance Junction dance instructor coming to do a dance and sip where you get hors d'oeuvres and learn how to do the salsa and the bachata and
I'll take pictures
other
of
dances.
that.
So we're definitely trying a lot of different things just to have fun, have a good time.
It's a great place to watch a Penguin game. Or a Steeler game.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
Because it's like that. Everybody's in there just screaming and hollering.
Well, that's how the St. Patrick's Day parade. Yeah. I loved it.
Right.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's the watering hole, and it's not. You know what I love about Millvale in general? It's not far from anything. Like I'm in Ross Township. I was like, oh, it'll take. I mean, I never estimate time well, so I'm like 7 minutes. I was a little more, but it's close to everything, and I think that's the key. That's why everything's great in Millville. And it's haunted.
We need to get Pamela's to open up like a few hours earlier so that they can leave your place and go right
there.
to Pamela's
Yeah.
for
That's
a
true.
hangover breakfast is
Yeah.
what we
Work
need.
on that.
for
Let's
real.
Go
work
get a
on
big
that.
Lincoln.
Seriously.
Yeah, that's
All right,
awesome.
Kev, where does everybody find you on social media?
So we have Caesar's Alehouse on Facebook, and it's Caesar's AE on Instagram. Right now, I'm actually the one responsible for building our website, which is caesarsalehouse.com, and I'm using WordPress, which is supposed to be easy.
We have a guy.
We have a guy. I'll help
We have a
you.
guy.
Okay, but I don't really like it, so I was going to see if anybody wanted to build it for free beer.
Kev, I'll help you. Let's just talk. We'll talk. About it.
I got it launched, but we still got a way to go. So we're still building our website, but we're on social media just about every day. putting out things that are coming up and all the excitement we have coming.
It's so impressive. And you're right. It is so hard to start from scratch. So kudos to you.
All right. How long have
What's
you
your
kept a library
story?
card or a
So,
library book?
I had been getting a bill from
Have
the
been.
Carnegie Library
current.
for 3 years. So it had to be at least over 3 years because I was getting a bill for 3 years. So the bill ended up being $54. And then the argument I had was that
Of course you had an argument.
the book only cost $19. So like, why couldn't I just buy the replacement instead of paying the fees? But I had to pay the fees. So I paid $54 for a $19 book. And that was the last time I ever didn't return one.
Lesson learned. Hey, at least it wasn't a mortgage deal breaker. That's
Right.
Like you saying,
Right.
Jen was like wanted.
They said he didn't say you can't open your bar because you owe $54.
Yeah, seriously. Well, listen, we're coming back because we need to try the smash burger. That's what you guys are known for.
Yeah,
that quickly in the last 6
the
months.
food is actually really good, and
It
actually,
is.
Yeah.
I see myself, sometimes like being more of a restaurant than a bar. So if you're hungry and you want to come down and get a burger and get some food, you're gonna like it. You're gonna enjoy it.
Awesome. All right, Kev.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Appreciate
we'll
it.
have to go down there. After.
Cool.
I'm starving now. All right, come on up.
All
Because we
right.
know that you're going to play us, not an instrument. I don't want it. Should I tease it?
Right.
Good to see you. We're going to not tease it, right? Because I
Okay.
don't want to like give it away,
Yeah,
even
yeah.
though it's right
But
there.
we have something special,
right
so
there.
hang out.
Yeah.
It's right there.
Yeah.
I mean, how
Yeah,
do you
it's
not tease
right.
it?
It's been haunting the whole episode, just sitting back there.
So thanks to Steel Kitty Productions, because
Yes.
that's how we found out about
Yeah,
you.
Deb is awesome.
Super helpful when it comes to unique musicians, and you have quite the powerful voice. So we appreciate you giving of your time, but you're known more as like the saw lady, right?
Ish, yeah, that's one of my things
Yeah.
is being a saw lady, but I also play a lot of other instruments, and I have 3 bands, so it's just like I'm just like a lot of extra all over all the time. But I have 3 bands. I'm the front person in all of them, and I play trombone and trumpet and musical saw and keys and guitar, and all the bands are different from each other in my opinion. So, just
I love it. So
cooking.
music is your passion.
It's one of my passions. Yeah.
Okay. And you live in Millvale?
I don't live in Millvale. I live in
Okay.
Brookline actually, but I have played here in Millvale so many times.
It's like your turf.
Yeah, like all the festivals. I'm here off and on on Mondays at Mr. Small's Funhouse for Acoustic Cafe.
Okay.
And I don't even know how many gigs I've played here, probably 50 or something. So
Wow.
it's like I'm like a musical resident.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're an honorary.
So
Yeah.
we won't say what you're going to play. You kind of teased it, but how did you know? How did you learn how to play the thing you're about to play?
I called her the
what do you just experiment with things and what happened? Or
I do like to experiment with things. I have a lot of weird instruments that I'm interested in, and if you give me something, I'm going to try to play it.
Yeah.
But I saw someone play this, and I also saw it in a movie. And when I saw it, I just thought, I just knew I could figure it out. I knew something in my body was like, I know how to do that. I will be able to do that. And I kind of dove into it, and I went crazy working on it. And, after a couple of years, I would play a song all the time, be like, do you know what this song is? Do you know what it is? And after a couple of years, they were like, maybe it's Happy Birthday. I'm like, yes, it's Happy Birthday. So finally it started to sound like what I was trying to play,
Yeah, right.
So it took a long time to develop that skill. But I've actually run a musical saw festival in Pittsburgh before. There's only maybe like 5 players here total. And I have a cool new project with it that I'm doing, which is I'm writing an opera, which uses the musical saw as the voice, but it's put through a talk box, which is kind of like, Peter Frampton was like,
right.
So there's a tube that goes into your mouth. I'm playing and I'm like talking, and it's really awkward. But it gives it a voice. And so, and there's going to be like this animated video that goes with it. So this girl gets trapped in the saw, and she becomes the saw, and then she's learning about her body. And then she also has to address am I just the instrument of my creativity? Am I only the saw, or can I be separate from the saw? And so it's the journey.
It's beyond me. It went.
No, but if you like anything that you're passionate about in life, you get so attached to it,
so
it
right.
becomes your identity. And then what if something happens where you can't do that anymore?
Sure.
Who are you anymore?
That's a great, yeah.
Right? That's what the topic of the opera is.
In saxophone
that.
talk, I don't know a lot about saxophone, so I won't get real
gonna
deep. But
say, I didn't know you were
there's a
saxophone.
tenor sax. There's a whatever sax.
Yeah.
What tone or what key is your instrument in?
Yeah.
We all know it's saw. You could say
Okay.
I mean, it's a musical saw. Surprise. It's so this is actually a real musical saw. So it's pressed a little bit thinner. The vibration lasts longer, and it's 3 octaves, and it sounds really beautiful. But when I started, I went to Home Depot and I got like the sharpest saw I could find, which also I still use to cut wood and all kinds of stuff. So
Return it to the Millvale Tool Library.
So if you play a small one, it's high pitches, and when you play a long one, it's lower pitches. And so actually, I'm using that in the opera too. To like sometimes if she feels like real small because she doesn't think much of herself, she becomes like the small piccolo saw. And when she's trying to be scary and bigger than herself, she like turns into a big saw and has a big low voice. You know.
You sound like the people who go to Sprezzatura. Jen
Right.
had those.
I think
I got her number.
Any lumberjacks that are getting too old, they now can start a band.
But that is so
Absolutely.
cool that you even figured that. In all seriousness,
Yeah,
you
that's
figured that
crazy.
out, and that's amazing.
I found like a website at the time that was like, oh, really bad website. And it's like, oh, start by knocking it with a hammer or whatever. And like, you have to hold it real funny with your one hand. It's like it's a curve, and then you have to curve it again at the very end. And that hurt my wrist so much that I could only play for like a couple minutes at a time when I started. So now I don't know, I have like some weird Popeye muscles in my wrist area, I guess, because I can do it a real long time now. But
That is so cool.
This is crazy. All right,
right.
so we need.
Where does everybody find you?
Yep.
oh, okay. So for my bands, Working Breed is one of them. That's my favorite one, and I play all the instruments in that one. So workingbreed.net. You can find us on Facebook also. My other band, ErikaJuniandTheTunes.com. And then the third one it's called Honest Babes, and that's very quiet and just a duo, and the saw is a lot in that one. So that's only on Facebook and YouTube right now. But we just did a Tiny Desk submission for that band, so that was pretty fun and cool.
That is so cool.
All
We're
right,
going to have
so-
you play the saw on the way out. We're going to do our thank yous real quick. Are you ready?
Wait, can I
How long
tell
you-
you about my
Tell me about your...
my library?
Library
Yeah.
story.
My library story, because I do have a scandalous one,
my God.
actually.
Oh, this is fantastic.
I need holy water.
Paige
and-
needs
yeah.
a raise.
I'm going to spill the tea. I have told very few people this story. So I used to work at a library when I was in high school. I was a page. It was my high school job. And I would like shelve books and check things out for people and check things back in for people. And I worked there with my very best friend, who was this guy named Patrick. And so we could like get into the computer system. It was really old. It had like just like green text. It was just like, it was 1996 or something. Okay. And so it was like really easy to hack into and stuff. Cause of course I'm like this kid who's like going into the computers. So we would give each other like $1 million fines all the time. Cause we were like, having fun with each other. Anyway, obviously those were fake, but there was this person at school, this cool guy, and he made fun of Patrick in this like really bad homophobic way. And I kind of wanted to like get him back. So
I feel like I can't.
I'm gonna like this end of this story.
I know where it's
I feel
going.
like a bad person. I was like, yeah, this is a real confession time. Okay, so
We were with Patrick. Go ahead.
I checked out this cool guy, a book, something about like exploring your sexuality or something. And then I just put it back on the shelf. So after a while, the automated system starts sending letters to his house. It's like, your book, blah, 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 has been checked out and you're accruing fines. And
I will never cross you. Go ahead.
You're a champion.
No, I'm not like this normally.
Oh my God. This is champion level scandal.
Go ahead.
Okay, this is embarrassing. But like, so one day I'm working there and his mom just charges in with this letter. And she's just like, what is this? This isn't real, blah, blah, blah. Like, she was just as bad as her son. Hate begins at home, and like, man, this lady was like trouble. But anyway, I didn't get any trouble. Obviously, I didn't tell anyone until now. Now everybody knows that I did this thing. And of course,
get it together, lady.
know.
What are you even doing?
I let the real librarians deal with that.
Yeah.
They didn't know what was going on. They went and they found it in the stacks. It was there, and they're like, "Well, we don't know what's up with it, so we'll just cancel it out." But the point was that he had to like be in the shoes of someone else who he was like a perpetrator against, and that was my goal, I guess. So thank you.
We love you, Saw Lady, because we're afraid of you. All right.
Also, by the way, Patrick just called me this week and said he's getting married to his fiance David, and I'm going to their wedding. So
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
so really
awesome.
happy ending to that story, I guess, except for that guy. I
Yeah.
don't even remember that cool guy's
I
name.
want to
That's
know
how
his name
cool
and
he
look him
is.
up. Like,
Right,
what's he doing
right,
now?
I know, right?
Well,
right.
when he
But-
comes,
This is an
you can
intense
you can scare him by walking up to him with a saw and
I
then
know.
just
Oh
playing
my
a
God.
song.
It's
All
I
right,
got it
let's see here.
confiscated as a weapon one
All right,
time.
so let's say thank you. As you're getting ready, we'll say
Yeah, you
thank
get
you.
ready, well, 'cause
We'll say
again-
thank you to Colin and Tracy and Paige who help us put this on.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thanks to
all-
Danielle because she really hooked us up with all the guests.
Right, that's really what happened here. So
Yeah.
Danielle, from the name of the place is
Via
Abeille Voyante Company. Don't be a Pittsburgher and don't start it with a B. It's an A. Abeille.
Abeille,
Right.
yeah. And we have to please check out Maude's Paperwing Gallery, Caesar's Alehouse, Erika June and her saw, and don't cross her. And of course, Jen from Sprezzatura. And thanks, of course, to the Millvale Library, the Tool Library.
the Tool
specifically
Library. Even
because-
Ethan was awesome. So
And Alayna, I'm so sorry, from 416, you guys. Don't call it 412 because
Right,
it's not. It's
right.
her address.
And we have to say thank you to Roriconda because it's known for its vast showroom with a backup of vehicles in its warehouse down in Bloomfield. But what about the pre-owned and certified used vehicles in their inventory?
With a call or a click, you can be up to date on how many of your delivered maker models are available for purchase. As always, visit Rourke.com for all of your vehicle needs. And now we listen to
This
the song
is
that is within
it.
a
This
foot
is
from
what
a
we've been
face.
waiting for. By the way, it's a saw.
But here's the thing. Did I not say it like everyone knows I
Did
said
you
it.
see how irritated she gets? I just have to keep saying it.
But he kept going on.
Right,
He
because
kept saying, like,
because
don't say
you
it's a
look
song.
how
I'm like,
irritated
we're
you
literally
are.
talking about the
Because
song.
look how irritated
No,
you
weren't
are.
focused.
No.
Oh my
There's
God.
All right. All right. So where should we let's see.
right
We'll
there.
place our microphones where here? All right.
I put it through a speaker, so
Oh,
hopefully,
okay. All right.
hopefully that
Let me get out of your way.
I don't know. Please don't do a video of this. Because oh my! That was the best thing I've ever seen. I am not kidding you right
Thanks
now.
everybody
That was
for
so
tuning
amazing. I
in. That
love
was
Amazing Grace.
fantastic. That was
beautiful.
That was
Oh my! I turned to
fantastic.
John. I was like, "That's Amazing Grace." You know, I'm not a good whisperer. In case you didn't know, I was like,
Yeah.
"John, it's Amazing